Wait till tomorrow. We're turning it up. Electric Factory, Whiteout, Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Send it!
Reno, baby.
Reno.
3-0 all the way.
I'll be damned. If
Mike's,
you had told me we'd start 3-0 before the season started, man,
No.
I would have kissed you.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Mike did tell you that.
And I did kiss him.
That's right. 12 more to go.
12 more to go, Mike. That's it. Only 12.
Only 12.
But it's a good start.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get to 15 if you don't get the first 3, right?
Absolutely right.
Can't get to 15-0 without 3-0. Grab your pencil and your paper. It's the obligatory PSU pregame show. Yes, sir. It is the obligatory PSU pregame show presented by HappyValley.com. Coming to you again this week from Central Reservation, the new spot on the corner of Allen Street and Beaver Ave, here in beautiful Happy Valley. And what a week it has been after a tremendous, absolutely tremendous Penn State weekend with the Nittany Lions getting the dub over Auburn. I'm your fake host, Chris Bucanani, joined, as always, by beloved campus icon, Mike the Mailman.
Hello, everybody. I'm here. We're here to go.
You're glowing more than usual,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes, 3-0. We're ready.
You're proud of this one, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle Brandon Noble.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little disappointed I missed it, but I definitely am excited about where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
And dutifully splitting your Saturday last week between a wedding and making it back up in time for kickoff, former OnwardState.com managing editor Kevin Horton.
Yeah, don't do that if you're getting married, please. Don't do that.
Fall wedding.
No fall weddings.
No fall weddings.
No fall weddings.
Bye week if you got to do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have a wedding today or tomorrow, depending when you're listening to this. So, leaving.
Same, as a matter of fact.
But hopefully the game's over in the third quarter and I can gracefully exit and not miss anything.
Yeah, we'll get there, but I'm feeling pretty good. There was a ton on the line for Penn State last week, Kev. I felt like it could have gone really well with everything we put into it, or turned on a dime and gone badly. It didn't, and so, I mean, just talk about what it was like being here, the atmosphere, everything, the whole weekend, everything you saw. Awesome.
It was a 2-year homecoming in the making, man. I mean, so many people were in town. The place was bursting. There's sort of this little Bourbon Street vibe going on here between Allen and College, on the way between Champs and Zeno's and Pickles and where we're at now, Central Reservation, and around the corner of the First. All these bars are sort of in this one strip now, especially because we've had several bars closed over the last year to the east. And so you can't walk on this street. I mean, I don't know how they haven't shut this street down yet on football weekends. I mean, it is quite an environment. You can just tell it wasn't your average whiteout, right? Because it's the first whiteout in a while where you're not going in heavily favored or a heavy underdog. You're actually, this is going to be a game, and it certainly delivered, and the energy was sustained throughout the entire thing, which is pretty rare, given the opponents. It's always Michigan or Ohio State.
Right.
So it's nice to have someone that was a little bit more level with us, and I can barely talk. I do need some halls, as James Franklin suggested.
And yes, and special, because you don't see an SEC come north but once or twice a century. And it was really, really cool to get that vibe. One of the things that struck me, a couple of shout outs. First of all, shouts to Alan from Jonas, Pennsylvania, who came over the railing at Cafe 210 to talk to Kevin and me about how much he enjoys this show. God bless you. Also, shout out to the Auburn fans, like the Mailmen.
Oh, yeah.
They showed up. They traveled really well, which I expected. but they were in town on Thursday. They were awesome. SEC fans typically I found to be a lot of fun to talk to, hang out with, party with, and they made a lot of noise on Saturday night.
Yeah, they get the cult in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely.
They
No
get
doubt.
it. And they get a good college bar. Their presence was heavily felt downtown. I mean, local whiskey. I was at Local Whiskey on Friday night, and it was probably 40% Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really impressive.
Yeah, they showed up well, and they rooted on their team.
Last weekend at all these tailgates, I was talking to a lot of the Auburn people, and I said, do me a favor. I said, beat Alabama, and they just jumped on it. We can't wait. You know, so we like this game here. We like this town. They like the hospitality that Penn State fans showed, which is, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I went out of my way to be accommodating and welcome them to Happy Valley. But I'm going to tie those two comments together. The cult, the Alabama thing. I saw one of the most amazing curiosities, not once, but multiple times last week. There were Alabama fans. While their team, by the way, is playing number 11 Florida. This is how entitled and spoiled they are. They're like, forget that game. I'm going to travel up to Happy Valley, wear a white Alabama jersey to the whiteout, and root against Auburn.
Oh, that's
It's so serious down there.
That's pretty amazing.
That the Alabama fans traveled to Penn State to root against Auburn.
I respect immensely, and Alabama was probably 5 minutes away from losing that game against Florida.
Yeah, incredible.
But this is why, of all the wrong things James Franklin has said over 7 years, the wrongest thing, the wrongest thing he's ever said is the backhanded comment he made at the press conference about how why are you playing Auburn? Well, because the administration wanted to. And then he gave his rant about how we should be playing neutral site games for premier out-of-conference opponents, so you only have to play them once. You don't have to go down there. That is the wrong thing that man has ever said. I'm sure it was well-intentioned. I get it. He's crazy. He wants to set yourself up for the playoffs. But I don't know how you can go through that environment yesterday with 300 recruits on the sideline and 110,000 people and not want to schedule more premier out-of-conference games and play them like that. That opinion is trash. So maybe he was convinced after he saw that. Maybe he had forgotten over the last couple of years how cool that actually is. And I'm excited to go down to Auburn. I've been there once before. Yeah, it's tough, but you're not going to go to the playoffs if you can't beat Auburn.
Good point.
So whatever.
Yeah.
I'll take that trade-off every day.
No, I'm with you. College football belongs on college campuses. I hate college games played at NFL stadiums.
Oh, me too.
On the other hand, I understand the counter arguments. It makes scheduling easier, especially with whatever's going to be going on with the alliance, right? And it makes money, and I don't care.
No. Nor should we.
I think everybody made a lot of money last week.
The atmosphere here last weekend was great. Unbelievable. It was like football's back for real now. Definitely back.
The other thing, guys, I felt, and I talked to you, Mailman and Kev, you were in the stadium. I talked about the Michigan whiteout 2 years ago, how we made them take the timeout before the first snap. And then I kind of felt like the energy level went a little bit down from there. I mean, Michigan came back in that game and was one drop pass away from overtime. I felt last Saturday, it was kind of the opposite. I felt like everybody was still kind of getting their post-coronavirus sea legs under them early in the first quarter. And then the energy level just kept building and building. And by the time you got to the fourth quarter, the roof was just blowing off that place. It was amazing.
Of course, a minor thing, but this is indicative of, I'm just going to be negative for a second. Penn State loses the toss, Auburn defers, so Penn State gets to pick what end zone they want to defend. They picked the wrong one, right? They were defending the end zone that was in the opposite of the student section in the fourth quarter. Didn't end up mattering, but that's just a small thing. That's like a half percentage, percent that you would have gotten had you not done that stupidly. But anyway, yeah, it was wild. It was wild. We picked 2 of them off. We got 2 false starts. The crowd noise did, I think.
Yeah, well, that's a good pivot from Happy Valley lifestyle stuff into actually the football. We can talk to you, get your insight on how many downs there are, and that kind of stuff. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the obligatory PSU pregame show presented by HappyValley.com from Central Reservation at State College, Pennsylvania. Still looking back on what was really a landmark, tremendous weekend for Penn State. The university, the community, the football program, so many recruits in town to see that amazing atmosphere.
Should have played in Indianapolis, Chris.
Maybe Washington, D.C. Should have played in D.C.
Never gonna
That would have
happen.
been a good spot, right?
Oh, God.
This comment still bothers me. Anyway, not to get off track.
And on top of all that, the fans who were able to get through it without throwing up or having a heart attack were treated to a fantastic fourth-quarter football game.
Great game.
That really, I felt, met the opportunity of having an SEC and a Big Ten power play on a college campus.
Yeah.
Really great game, Brad.
Early in the season, too. You know, it doesn't happen very often. We talked about, a couple weeks ago, opening against Wisconsin, how important it is to get tested early.
Yeah.
And coming into the game, you didn't know what Auburn was. Auburn's a pretty good football team.
Yep.
They're a really good football team. They've got a good back. They've got good receivers. Defensively, they run to the ball. Nix is very, very good.
Yep.
He put that ball in a couple spots. Now, look, man, that ball went right where it needed to be. He threw the ball well last night, but we're pretty good.
He's a third-year guy.
Yeah.
Sean Clifford's a third-year
Yes,
guy.
absolutely.
We were talking about his 75% completion rate coming in. Bo Nix's I'm talking about. Sean Clifford's like, I'll see your 75 and raise you to 87.
Yeah.
He finally had that coming out game Sean Clifford did against a quality opponent.
Yes.
Finally.
He'll be
Forever. Now that's it. Like, that's all you need. I mean, he needs to win some more this year.
He'll be the Big Ten Player of the Week.
Yeah.
I think it will. It has to be.
But
Unbelievable.
I mean, you only get a few games in your career. I mean, football, they don't play that many games every year. You don't get that many years. And that finally, Sean got that game. We rag on him a lot. Great to see. I mean, he had 4 incompletions the whole game. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was 29 for 33 or something, or 30 for 34.
Yeah.
One of them was an arm punt interception.
Yeah.
One of them was a Parker Washington drop. I mean, really, I mean, they were. Yours just was doing low percentage with them, right? Which is fine.
Good.
It worked.
Makes sense.
It worked. Strange was getting open, the tight end. I mean, it finally, the game plan came together, and it worked for him. I mean, two real incompletions the whole game. Phenomenal stuff. So happy for him. He's here now, man. This is it.
You know how happy I was that the tight end showed up just last week. Oh, it was unbelievable.
Well, and credit, you guys both talked about that on last week's show, that you felt like even though the tight ends hadn't been a part of the offense much going in, that we were going to see it on Saturday night. And boy, did we ever. Finally, that tight end room James Franklin's been hyping up came through big time.
And it helped because the pass protection, finally the offensive line pass protection was phenomenal. I mean, he had all day. And I think it set a tone in the beginning where no one was getting open, but Sean still had 15, 20 seconds to find a guy.
The pass protection was amazing.
I mean, the run blocking a little bit different, the different story. But the pass protection, I mean, that really set him up to succeed.
And I think a lot of that, though, is when you watched the beginning of the game, the tempo, how fast they were getting to the line of scrimmage, how fast they were getting the ball snapped was huge. As a defensive lineman, when you have to play against that, rushing the passer over and over again is miserable. Right, so the tempo will slow the opposing defense down also because they get tired. And I think you saw that, right? Because there were times when Auburn was dropping 8 and rushing 3.
That's right.
And they literally stood there for 15 seconds, it felt like, before you had to throw the football.
And this is a little minor thing, but could have made a big difference. It was an SEC officiating crew. I'm sure we're going to get into that later in the show. Horrible. But say what you want about them. I mean, they were terrible. I'll say that about them. But they were spotting the ball a good 3 to 4 seconds faster than any Big Ten crew did, right? Which is, I mean, at Wisconsin, the Big Ten crew was spotting the ball and then putting their hand on Sean to not snap it. I mean, it was insane. That SEC crew had that ball spotted within like 2 seconds after the tackle. And it really, I think, benefits Yursich in the way that Penn State wants to play offense.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and the play calling was aggressive. It was controlled but aggressive. And you're right, they low or easy to throw balls for Clifford, RPOs, right, throwing to number 2 down the seam, easy tosses, but they were all, again, just give that kid confidence and mix it, and again, the tight ends. Like, I love what they did with the tight ends.
Yeah,
and I know Mike loves that room.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
But that room showed up to play, and they used them the right way, fine. Those are big athletic kids. Put them in situations to be successful. And I really liked the way that he called the game yesterday.
Yeah, a couple gripes. I thought the fake punt was awful.
Yeah, well,
you don't run that play.
You don't need to do it.
And you don't go lateral on the goal line with pitches and stuff. But those are the only 2 qualms I sort of have. It got a little too cute there after the Dotson play succeeded, where Dotson was the ball, the passer, 22-yard reception.
Right.
But
by the way, how good is that guy?
Oh, man, genius. Yeah. But again, work some stuff out.
Yeah.
I thought the best play of the game was when the score was 21-20. It was 3rd down and Penn State had muffed 2 plays before that. 3rd down, they put 3 wideouts to the left, and they gave it to Noah Kane, and a clear path in. They were really concerned about that. I thought that was the best play of the game. they really needed that, obviously, then. They really needed
the play calling was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that on that side of the ball, it's been such a struggle over the last few years.
Yeah.
You know, it really looked like they found their rhythm against a good opponent. Yeah. They obviously have to keep it up. You know, and I look on the other side. I think the defense played lights out.
They were stout.
They played really well. They you know, and that Tank Bigsby, the running back, he's a good football player.
Yep. Reminds me a lot of Stephen Davis.
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
faced that out back then.
To that, Penn State's fortunate that they didn't start running the ball until the second half.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
They made adjustments. I mean, they had just run Tank. I mean, he averaged like 5 yards a carry. He wasn't gashing Penn State. They weren't giving up big plays, but it was second and manageable almost every time in the second half, which you don't want. PJ Mustard or Jesse Lucchetta, so happy for him, having a great year.
Yep.
Really, the only weakness, and Tariq Castro-Fields too had a great game.
Yes.
The only really weakness on defense is Brandon Smith, who's not lived up to the task so far. Hopefully he can get there. The tackling's not there. A lot of chirping. He picked up a personal foul. Not great there. But otherwise, lights out. Lights out, and I hope they can stuff the inside a little bit more against a team like Iowa in a few weeks. But, yeah, got to be happy with everything pretty much.
I mean, you play a good team, you're going to get a close result.
Yep.
And we came out on the right side of it. More when we come back.
What a great spot. Damn it, I've been waiting all week. Counting down the days till I'm back in my seat.
Back at Central Reservation, I am still fired up after that whiteout last weekend. My God, listen.
unbelievable.
We're going to talk about the documentary film Saving the Roar a little bit later. There's an amazing quote from Bill O'Brien talking about putting the 2012 up on the stadium in that film, and then they go down 14-0 to Wisconsin. That game they ultimately won. But he says, man, if we get blown out in this game after doing this, we're going to look like the biggest a-holes in the universe.
That was great.
It was an amazing moment.
Cool.
And that's what I was thinking about the whole time as that game was staying close after everything we did. Like Grant Haley came back, Saquon Barkley, Madi and Zordich, and the whole nine. Adam Talafero came out of the tunnel. I'm like, if we blow this with all these recruits and the whiteout, national TV, prime time, oh my Lord. But we didn't. No. I'm still happy about it. I do want to mention, carrying over from the football conversation about last week, a guy who deserves some credit. I know you like the Baylor transfer running back, John Lovett, saw his first action of the season, and I thought was a much-needed change of pace in terms of bringing a different skill set than a lot of the other guys we have in that running back room.
Yeah, I mean, and you need it. There's a lot of guys in that running back room that can all run the football really well. I don't always understand why they have so many, but again, it's good to have them, I guess.
Well, I like Kevon Lee a lot. And when he fumbled, and fortunately State recovered, he fumbled on the second play. I said to my wife, we were in the stadium, he's done.
Yeah, and he was. Yeah, I mean, Kevon has been by far the best back, I think, better than Kane even. But fumble the ball, and that, in James's rule of thumb is you're gone. If we have anyone else that's a warm body to put you out there,
when you have 17 running backs.
John looked a little quicker than any of them.
Yeah, and that's what he is, right? I mean,
yeah.
Lovett, he's a Big 12 back, right? And they don't play a lot of defense down there. They throw the ball a lot,
that's right?
And those guys run for a lot of yards, and that's what he is. He's a guy that once he gets past the line of scrimmage, he's gone. You know it, right? As a defensive guy, all of a sudden that guy breaks the plane of the line of scrimmage, and you go, all right, we're going to go a long way down the field here right now, and you need that. You need that change of pace. Again, we're not great at moving people off the line of scrimmage right now, so the running back kind of has to do that by himself.
So I want to talk to you about that because, we needed to do that in part because in the trenches, on both sides of the ball, first, again, credit to Auburn. Really played a heck of a game.
Good football team.
Big physical.
I love. They got some nose guards that look like nose guards.
They do.
Absolutely. The
Very
physicality of that Auburn team was impressive.
It was a high level of physicality.
No doubt. However, that is an inside joke for one potential viewer on the show. For as well as the O-line pass block. Really struggled to get the run going. And I'm wondering your perspective as somebody who knows way more about this kind of stuff. Is that more on Auburn's defensive line playing well or our O-line not run blocking well enough?
Well, I mean, it's completely both, right? That was a good group up front Auburn had, right? They were low, they were thick, right? They were big bodies, they were hard to move.
I hate that like a middle tier SEC program can just recruit guys like that.
Yeah, well, they're not pretty, right? You know what I mean? They don't pass rush really well, right? But they're able to kind of anchor down and hold the A gap, hold the B gap, those kinds of things. I think our O-line did obviously a good enough job to win the football game. They did a great job with pass protection. A lot of that was because of tempo and those kinds of things. But like to me, it was the 4th and short when they tried the QB sneak under center, and they just didn't move a soul.
When you needed a yard and they knew what was coming, you couldn't get it.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
For once, when your defense is as good as it is.
Yeah. Oh, look, I love the call. Like I have no problem with the call. I just, it's disappointing to see you can't get it. Yeah.
Well, and it's tough when you have to punt on 3rd down too. That's
a whole different wrinkle, man. That's hard to wrap your head around.
A really new sport. Yeah.
It's a brand new. That's how they do it in the CFL, I think.
Right.
How the hell did that happen? I still can't
SEC
believe
officials.
And they even had a conference together, and it still didn't get it right. It's unbelievable.
Not so good at math down there.
I mean, the worst part was I was trying to restrain myself from making learn how to count jokes before that happened, and then they screwed up the number of downs. Anyway, all right, good conversation, guys. Let's change it up. Let's go visit a spot on the tasting trail.
I like that.
We'll be back.
And it's important that you never invite me to a fall wedding on Saturday night. It's a tradition.
Welcome to Elk Creek.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you much.
Excited to be here. Heard a lot about this place.
Excellent, excellent.
Awesome space.
I love it.
I mean, we know this, but
I like it. I love the art.
The art is local. It's Mary Valero. She's from Julianne.
so you always feature local art?
Always feature local art. Right now we also have Jennifer Chesworth and Andy Tollins, who is also a great musician, plays with AAA.
Yeah, sure.
Decorating. So we have local photographs. And would you guys like to come back and see the brewery?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Right this way.
It's always our favorite part.
All right, well, this is where the magic happens. You can see that we have a pretty small compact system here. So the brewers really do an incredible job with moving the product through. So as soon as something comes out of the tanks, we're putting something down. So, that kettle is usually brewing away, and the whole place smells like, yeast, like almost like a fresh bread baking.
Right.
The smell, it permeates everything. We don't do a whole lot of lagers. We're Elk Creek Cafe plus Aleworks because the ales don't require as much time in the tank.
Okay.
When we schedule a lager, you have to really think about the time and the brewing schedule because you have to lager the beer, it has to age. And inventory, we always have our Day of Darkness, Day of Delicious Darkness in February, which is all dark beers, usually on nitrogen.
Ooh, nice.
And some of them have been barrel aged. We have some barrels from Buffalo Trace in
I like
Kentucky.
it. Big fan.
And that's what we use to barrel our bourbon aged beers. So we usually have several that have been in the casks. We have different vintages that we prepare.
Cool.
While we're here and we have the door, can we see the outside space?
Yep. You guys want to go over?
Yeah.
Take the long walk. There it is.
That's awesome.
We have a little pop-up beer garden kind of idea.
Right,
We have a little beer trailer down there. We have a food trailer that is the property of the Milheim Fire Company. Gives you an idea of what the space is.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So the food comes out of there. You take your orders here. We give you
The standards, are they pretty much set? You always brew those throughout the year?
We always brew those throughout the year.
Okay. How many different beers do you guys brew in a year?
Probably, other than our standards,
Yeah.
I would say probably close to 20, maybe a little more, 20 to 24.
Amy, thanks very much. We appreciate the beer. We appreciate seeing the space, hearing your story.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Trying the beer and checking the place out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another stop on the tasting trail.
Very nice.
A mark on our passport. One step closer to those hoodies. A hard day's work drinking
Hard
booze.
day's night, too.
Yeah,
It's been a hard day's night.
Yeah.
all right, rolling. It's a good song. Good movie.
Tailgate lot with a stadium view. And college what a great spot. Damn it, I've been waiting all week. Counting down the days till I'm back in my seat.
Welcome back. You've been hearing us talk on the show about Saving the Roar, the documentary film made about the incredible 2012 Penn State football team. Well, it finally premiered last weekend here in State College, as if we didn't have enough great stuff going on. I was fortunate enough to be able to be part of the production, interview some folks on the red carpet. We're going to share a little bit of that with you right now, so here it is. Enjoy. We are.
They don't know this story because this story is told by us. It's just, this is our story. So who else is it going to come from other than us? What they know happened on ESPN and NBC and all that other stuff, but this is coming from us, and we were there.
If you love Penn State, if you love sports, if you love a great comeback story, and you want to see every range of emotion from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows and back again, that's what you'll get. We cried our eyes out. We laughed. We cheered. What a great, this is going to hit you in the heart, because if it doesn't, you don't have a heart.
Everybody had their own version of it, and it was just cool to be able to get it out there from our standpoint. It was just, it's a proud moment, and I'm happy that it's being portrayed truthfully. And that's it. I think that's the only way to put it, is it's true. The whole story, the whole version of this movie is true. There's not one bit of, it's not dressed up at all. This happened, and this is exactly how it happened.
If you are a loyal Penn Stater, you need to see this film. You will not be disappointed in this film. You will have a sense of pride that is just beaming more than ever.
I just remember we looked at each other and we crumbled up that piece of paper and we threw it in the trash, and we walked outside of those double doors and started talking to ESPN, NBC, Fox. Everybody was there. The thing went out to everybody, and it was completely from the heart.
Michael Dunley, I'm from Chicago right now. I was a letterman back in '83. Played with Michael Zordich's dad, and played right after Rich Marty, so known them both, long time.
Awesome. So I wanted to start out by asking you what brought you to the film tonight.
Well, Michael and Michael, they've been my nephews since they were born, so really powerful film that I think everybody should see. What I didn't realize was I came to every game that season in support of them, never saw any of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always, when I saw them, they were always upbeat and strong, and it just was really an emotional wow. And I truly believe Joe Paterno was the start of all that, because, of course, he's still my idol till today of what he taught us as men. And I encourage everybody to see this film. It's the best.
So, I'm exhausted. That was my third time watching it. It's every time you pick up on different gravity of emotion, but I'm proud I got to watch this next to John Bacon, who was with us every week since he got there in 2012 in spring, and was literally chronologing this, and what ended up to be a dear friend that we were almost pouring all of our emotion into, and documented literally, and then ended up narrating. So a lot of those facts we don't have without John Bacon, and the way that he tells a story unlike any other. So how did you feel watching the first for the first
I
time.
sat next to this guy, getting emotional, and keep in mind, I'm from Ann Arbor. I went to Michigan. I'm a journalist. I'm going like this because, as I said in the movie, if you don't admire these guys, you don't admire much. And look, the film is fantastic. There are a lot of ways to screw this up. More ways to screw it up than to get it right. A lot of needles you got to thread. They nailed it. There's not one false note. There's not one excessive scene. And they get below the surface of what happened that season. So anybody who sees this is going to, I don't care if you're a Penn State fan or not, anybody who sees it is going to get sucked into it right away, and this guy's the driver.
I remember I said something where, those first 3 or 4 years at Penn State, it meant a lot to me. It was something I always looked at as a blessing and a great opportunity. But, when it was time to go, home for Christmas break or whatever it was, I felt like I was leaving school and going home. But after that last year and during that last year, I felt like the very few times that I did leave, I was leaving home and going somewhere else.
Wow.
And that was something that was a noticeable shift. And it is because of the place, but it's really because of the people and the teammates and the coaches that we had. And when you had to drive away from campus for the last time, knowing that was something that was hard to let go. And it was also something that you were grateful to have that feeling, because not everybody gets that.
See it, stream it, get the link, download this film, watch it on in live pay-per-view. It's wonderful and deserves to be seen. And the more people that see it, spread it organically, but it's wonderful, and we are Penn State.
As a team, we don't see this as a punishment. This is an opportunity. This is the greatest opportunity a Penn Stater could ever be given. And we're gonna show up every Saturday. We're gonna raise hell. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out.
We under the lights now. Gotta shut it down for the whiteout. From Tuscaloosa to Bomasuna, we light the grill up and fill the cooler. So strap your...
Welcome back to the obligatory PSU pregame show presented by HappyValley.com at Central Reservation in State College. I'm Chris Buchanani, joined by Brandon Noble, Kevin Horn, and beloved campus icon Mike the Mailman. Yep. And guys, it's the time of the show where we preview the upcoming matchup for the Nittany Lions. So Villanova's football team, what do you got?
Great basketball program.
Jay Wright, yeah. Really good.
I don't know.
Mike doesn't even know. He couldn't even come up with something nice.
I drove by the stadium once.
Yeah.
Who cares? We just beat Auburn, for God's sake.
Quarterback Daniel Smith, running back Justin Covington. They put up some big numbers so far this year. Look, they're 1AA. It's nothing to be worried about. But Villanova has kicked the crap out of all three teams they've played so far this year. I was scoreboard watching them yesterday. Last weekend. They beat the crap out of Richmond.
Yes, usually a good team.
It's usually not bad for 1AA. I mean, look, it's like Williamsport beating up on State High in high school and then them going to play Penn State, right? You look at the numbers; they don't mean anything. Sort of like Auburn a little bit. So nothing to be worried about. But it's not quite the walk in the park that like an Akron or Kent State usually are. I mean.
And Brandon, you were a broadcaster for the CAA, their conference, and so you've got a chance to see not just Villanova, but a lot of the competition they face.
Yeah, and it is the best conference at that level, right? The FCS level, 1AA level, whatever you want to call it now. They're a good football team. They're well coached.
1AA.
1AA, right? I mean, but at that level, they have less scholarships. They have less depth. They're going to come out. They're going to play hard. It's going to be a great experience for those kids the first time they run out there and play against in that kind of environment. Yeah. They're just for anybody that cares, they're going to run a spread offense. They run a 3-3-5 defense, and we're going to just toss them off the field like they're not there at the end of the day.
Yeah, the different
that's
caliber.
That's really what it is.
Of
Absolutely, yeah, different caliber.
Sure.
And they'll have a wrinkle or two, right? They may get a first down here or there, maybe score, maybe. They shouldn't.
Great opportunity to get some more guys.
Young guys, a lot of playing time, young guys.
Clearly, full disclosure, none of us gave a crap enough about this game to learn about the Villanova football team. But fortunately, one of my friends I graduated with here at Penn State is now a broadcaster for Villanova University. He's been on the obligatory PSU podcast. I got Nick Mantegna to give us an actual breakdown of Villanova football and give you all a preview that none of us really cared enough to put together for you.
Nick also had Penn State going 6-6 this year, just saying.
Take it for what it's worth. Here it is. Nick, lay it on us.
Thanks, Chris.
I absolutely love the obligatory PSU pregame show. I look forward to the episodes every week. The podcast is sensational. All of you guys do a great job. I remember going to my first Penn State game in the mid-90s, and everybody was asking me who Penn State's best player was at the time, and I said, well, the defensive tackle Brandon Noble is certainly one to watch, so keep up the work, guys. It's always a pleasure to be a part of this. Well, you have Villanova and you have Penn State. This is very special for me. It's the first meeting since 1951. Villanova won that matchup once upon a time. These teams will play again in Beaver Stadium in 2025. Again, very, very important to me as a lifelong Penn State and Villanova fan. I'm honored to be a Penn State grad where I got my broadcasting degree and getting a chance to be a part of Penn State as a student. And then very honored, of course, that Villanova gave me a chance to broadcast all of their sports as I've been a part of their athletics team for nearly 2 decades. It's so much fun to be a part of Villanova and calling all their athletic teams. You have 2 top-notch programs with Villanova and Penn State for football, 2 great universities with academics and athletics. When we get to football, Villanova plays at the FCS level, but they play in the best conference in America in the Colonial Athletic Association. And at the FCS level, they've had success versus the FBS for years. 1 win every year since 1978 for an FCS team over an FBS team. There were 6 wins in week 1 alone this year, the most since 2013. The notables being Montana over Washington and Jacksonville State taking down Florida State. It's 56 total wins since 2014 for FCS teams versus FBS teams. And Villanova's had success in those matchups for years with a win over Temple and playing very well against Syracuse and Pitt as well. When it comes to Villanova football, they've been a stable, reliable program for years. Just super consistent, pleasing to the eye. Andy Talley built the program, a Hall of Famer, winning a national title in 2009. Now it's head coach Mark Ferrante in his 5th year. He was the longtime assistant. They develop their players. They play clean, fundamental football. The offense is fabulous. They have a good running attack, diversified in their passing attack. They spread the ball around to different receivers. An excellent running back in Justin Covington. Quarterback Daniel Smith is a Walter Payton Award nominee. He has over 10,000 yards of total offense in his career. He has over 100 touchdowns in his marvelous career. Villanova has tons of 5th and 6th year players back, lots of experience. The defense is outstanding, led by Forrest Ryan, a tackling machine at the linebacker spot, an All-American. Malik Fisher is a wonderful defensive end, and Christian Benford is an awesome cornerback who has 4 interceptions through the first couple of games to start 2021. So in terms of the matchup, you had the speed of Penn State and getting up for that big game against Auburn in the whiteout. How do they respond against Villanova a week later? Is that an advantage to the Wildcats? We know that Penn State has lots of ability. How do they perform against Villanova is the question. I go back to Urban Meyer and Scott Satterfield a few years ago. Lots of screens and bubble screens and picks and misdirection plays I think might be the key for Villanova to try and do something different, get Penn State running in one motion and maybe catch them on the other side. Just my thoughts on how Penn State and Villanova might go. No matter who wins, it's just a great chance to see 2 wonderful opportunities for these schools to play each other in college football, my favorite sport. Thanks, Chris. Good luck, guys, and go Villanova, go Penn State.
Hi, I'm Mike the Mailman. If you or your loved one or a friend has a gambling problem, don't hesitate to call the number below on the screen. They're there to help. Hi, everybody. Mike the Mailman with another edition of Trends to Treasure. These trends will be for the first weekend of October. First trend this week, I really like. We have Florida at Kentucky. Kentucky has covered 4 straight times. So go with Will Levis and the Kentucky Wildcats. Next trend this week, we go to the Big Ten. We have Michigan at Wisconsin. The Badgers have covered 5 of the last 6 games, so take the Wisconsin Badgers minus the points. Our third trend this week, we have Fresno State at Hawaii. Fresno State has covered 5 of the last 6 games, so take Fresno State. And for our bonus pick this week, we go to the NFL. We have Arizona at the LA Rams. The Rams have covered 8 of the last 8 games, so take the LA Rams. That's it for this week. I'm Mike the Mailman, and don't forget, bet with your head and not with your heart. Go get 'em.
Mike the Mailman making y'all some money, I am sure. I don't know anything about that stuff, but I trust Mike.
Thank you.
This is our random number generator segment, guys. Thank you very much for that. Where we randomly generate some numbers. Yes, and give you a score prediction, which is totally meaningless, thus the random number generator title of the segment. And it's never more meaningless than when you have a top 10 FBS program playing a Division I AA school. So guess what, Brandon Noble?
I get to go first.
You do?
Yes, I do, and I wanted to go first this week.
It's good.
81 to
I'm
nothing.
sure you did.
That's it. That's all I got. Good luck, boys. Fill the rest of the segment.
Well, since you brought up that score,
Yes, we remember that. We remember that game.
congratulations to the University of Cincinnati, which has gone a long way in 30 years
Yes, they have.
as a football program.
Yeah.
From losing 81-0 in Happy Valley and letting John Sacca, the slowest human being
Ever.
on earth,
I was faster
run
than
like
John
what, like
Sacca.
80 yards
Yes.
for a touchdown.
On a not called QB draw. Just a QB scramble.
Oh.
Yes.
And now they're going to be in the Big 12. So Cincinnati,
good luck.
Cheers. Thanks for kicking the crap out of Indiana last week. Everyone in the Big Ten likes to see them taking down a few pegs. Kev, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Penn State could probably punt on third down every drive and still beat them. Which honestly, that should be. We should pay them more we should be able to pay them less if that's the rule, right? Like when Villanova's going on with a fat check, probably close to $1 million plus a charter plane. So we should jigger those rules. It'll make it more interesting. I have not even seen a line on this game yet. I mean, I'm sure some of Mike's offshore sketchy guys have them, but there may not even be a line offered on the legitimate sports books. Look, ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think. I mean, it's 45-3 is the score. I'll just put it that way. I think they get at least one drive and put up 3 just to feel good about themselves. I just want to see finally Penn State has a chance to breathe. I mean, Ball State was a little bit of a chance, but you coming in, you had to at least worry about them a little bit. Watch the film. Right. Finally, hopefully a chance to breathe. Hopefully to get some guys some rest. But yeah, I don't know, 45-3. Again, this is not a high-powered offense, despite the fact, as well as Sean did, I don't think they're going to get up into the 50s or the 60s like we're used to.
81.
I don't know what the under is, Mike. I imagine it's in the high 50s or low 60s. And if you're getting 58 or more on the total, take the under on that, because I don't think Villanova's going to be able to score, and I don't think Penn State's going to go off, like they would have 10 years ago. So that's my play, at least, I think.
I have winning by 23. I mean, I think Villanova, you gotta like, I love the basketball team. I actually always root for Villanova. I root for all the Pennsylvania teams, except when they're playing Penn State.
I'm a Philly fan. This is going to offend some people in the city of Philadelphia. I'm from the Heighton, okay? I'm an hour and a half away. I'm a Philadelphia fan. I root for Big 5 basketball. And some people think, Villanova's not in the city, they're not a Philly team. Anyway,
they are.
Jay Wright, great. That's a Philly championship. Those Villanova titles are Philly championships, all right?
Yeah, and this will give the guys, Penn State guys, second, third, fourth teamers some action. And they worked hard to get into play this.
And it'll give the starters a little bit of a break.
Oh, yeah.
At least it should.
Yeah. So I think it's a win-win for everyone. I mean, Villanova.
Except Villanova.
Well, yeah. Except for Villanova.
They're getting paid.
They're getting paid, but the players aren't.
It's going to be a good experience for the players.
The players are going to get
You don't know that. They may be endorsement deals out of this.
That's exactly right.
It's great exposure for the players.
Sure.
Do you know what I like about you in this segment every week, Mailman?
What's that?
It's called Random Number Generator, right? You were supposed to randomly generate a score. And all you ever do is you say, well, I like Penn State to win by blah, blah, blah. You never actually predict the score.
Only because I'm used to when you make a play on a game, that's all you think about.
Because he's a degenerate gambler.
Kevin and I, we know how that works.
I always give a score because I'm playing the totals. So.
Oh, okay. That's true.
I'm going to say 56-13.
Oh.
I think there's a lot of scoring early on, call off the dogs later. Not quite to the level of Jopa, where you just run the ball 50 times in the second half. Yeah. And, look, Villanova maybe gets in position to kick a field goal, maybe busts a play against the third-team defense. what I think is a much more compelling storyline for Penn State fans than what the final score is going to be is what players get an opportunity to get into the game and take some snaps. Yep. This is the last chance, really, for Taquan Roberson to get meaningful time for a while.
And that is important, right? It is important to have your backups get some real time in a real game, you know, that they do mean something. And so,
you're still trying to rotate a couple of those interior
That's
offensive linemen, like Bryce Effner is a guy that maybe can get in and play some snaps. We talked about Kevon Lee. I would really like to see him get another chance to get back in the saddle after the early fumble took him out of the Auburn game. It's a good football team, Villanova.
There you go.
We got to take them seriously.
Yes.
We got to take Villanova seriously or we're going to get licked.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Not at all.
Good breather before we get into the Big Ten schedule.
Yep.
We're going to beat Villanova, and then we got Indiana coming to Happy Valley, and we got something for them. We'll be back next week. We are